this. I don't think that PowerPoint presentations are a good thing. And yet, I watch so many salespeople bring their laptops with them and put PowerPoint presentations on. Maybe you'll put this down as page 34 item and say, from now on, let's not do PowerPoint presentations and sales presentations. Do you know what you are saying to your prospect when you bring your PowerPoint out on a sales call? Here's what you're basically saying. I'm not comfortable enough with my company and its products and services. I need this as a crutch. That's one of the first messages you send. Let me show you another message that you're sending. Hey, I want to sell you this shit. Here. People do not want to be sold. People don't want to be sold. You want to write down the shortest course on sales that could be taught or learned? Here you go. I'll teach it later, but I'll give it to you now. Ask questions and listen. That's the shortest course on sales. You see, I don't know how you can pitch if you don't know what the customer's needs, opportunities, and problems are. I don't know how you can put a PowerPoint presentation on for a prospect when you haven't even figured out if there's a fit there. So what happens is the mentality of the prospect says, this guy's here to sell me. When you shouldn't be there to sell them. Help them to buy. And if you really want to get good at sales, help them with their pain or pleasure. Because selling is not a logical decision, it is an emotional decision. But the majority of salespeople are pitching logic. And so it's all messed up right out of the get-go. And any company that's dependent on you on the day-to-day basis is being led poorly. You're doing a shitty job. Do you know what? This is not just his answer. This is the answer of a lot of guys I get. Well, if I did more revenues this year than I did last year, and if I made more profit than I did last year, and I have cash in the bank, it's success. Bullshit, that's not success. You accidentally survived another year. It's not how you grow a business. Let me show you the way I articulate it. You can't get there unless you know what there is. I want to know if it's 10 years out. People hire me as a CEO coach, and that's the first thing I want to know. I can't help you get to your destination unless you know what it is. Like, are you going to do business internationally, or are you going to do it in this state? Or are you going to do it in India? Or are you going to do it in Asia? How many locations are you going to operate out of? What's your revenue line going to look like? What's the profit line going to look like? How many locations? How many salespeople? Wouldn't it make sense to figure all that stuff out beforehand? You see, here is the definition of a vision. Something that gets people inside the company and outside the company excited about what you're about. It doesn't happen overnight, but I knew not only I was going to do that Ironman, I knew I was going to qualify for the Ironman World Championship in Kona. And I was going to cross that damn finish line, and I knew that. And then, once you have your vision as an entrepreneur, here's what your job is. You got to go in every day and every day talk about that vision with passion and conviction and excitement. The power of a vision. Don't understate it. The second piece of entrepreneurial insight is key people and key spots. Key people and key spots. Now, most people come to me because they want me to help them jumpstart their company. Like, could you really help us grow like Liz? Absolutely. If you want your business to grow at a hyper-growth pace, not 5% a year growth, 8% a year growth, 10% a year growth, shit, I don't get up out of bed for that crap. If you really want to spur your sales growth, then I'm going to tell you the most important position in your company. The most important position in the company is whoever runs the sales force. You could call him the managing director of sales. You could call him the EVP of sales. I'm going to use this term for the rest of the day. Sales manager. That's the most important person. And here's why. In most businesses, I don't say all, but most. In most businesses, here's how you grow your sales. Grow your sales force in quantity and quality. In fact, how about this as a one-liner for you to write down? A sales manager's job is not to grow sales. A sales manager's job is to grow salespeople in quantity and quality. And if you grow salespeople in quantity and quality, they in turn will grow your sales. 3 sins of sales manager. Here's the first one. The CEO, owner, entrepreneur also wears the hat of the sales manager. Sin 2. We take the best salesperson we have in the company. Anybody? Want to tell me what the rest? There you go. We make him the sales manager. And he says it with a smirk, right? So, have I ever seen it work? Yes. But not often. What often happens is you lose your best salesperson and get a mediocre sales manager in the trade. And then we get to the third sin. Whew. We take the best salesperson, we make him a sales manager, and say, continue with your customers and sell. This is the most insane thing I've ever seen. Let's say I was number 3. I was your best sales guy, you make me the sales manager, and you say, stay with your territory and work with those customers. And it's the end of the year. I had the best sales year ever in my life. I was the number 1 sales producer, and there wasn't anybody even close. You know what you would do with me? You would bonus me. You would give me a plaque. You would stand me in front of everybody and say, look at how awesome this guy is. And you did all wrong things. Because everything that I did to achieve this was at the expense of growing your company. I said to the guy, so that's our 3 programs. Which one appeals to you? Now, a guy that says, I like A. All you do then is say, you were obviously looking for the government office, which is 2 blocks away. Guys, a guy that would pick 140 compensation for the year over 290, that guy is certifiably nuts. He's a crazy man. Let me tell you what else he is. He doesn't have confidence enough in himself. Now, a guy that tells you right from the beginning, I don't have confidence in my ability to sell. Why would you want him then? Why would you want a guy that needs to be comfortable? How does your company's culture smell right now? There you go. How does your company's culture smell right now? Does your company's culture smell good or does it stink? Here's the next question. This one's big. Do you have a culture by design or do you have a culture by default? Has someone sat down and said, this is the way we want our culture to look. This is the way we want our culture to smell. This is the way we want our culture to feel. This is the feeling. And by the way, is it consistent from one location to the next location to the next location? Or, depending upon where you show up, it's a crapshoot. Want to versus have to. You want to create an environment where the people who work in your company want to go to work versus have to go to work. Okay? Want to go to work. Hot? Damn, I get to go to work there. The first one is recognition systems. Recognition systems. I really underscore the word recognition systems. What are your systems to ensure regular ongoing recognition? I had 2,600 salespeople. Every single one of them got a birthday card sent to their home from me. Every single one of them got an anniversary card sent to their home from me. I had a system for it. HR had everybody's start date. HR had everybody's birth date. So I just said on the 15th of the month, give me the next month's birthday cards and anniversary cards. I sign them up, I give them back to HR, and I say, send them out next month when the dates are appropriate. Easy. But I'd go out to 100 different offices and employees coming up to me and said, I never worked at a place like this. The owner of the company took time to send me a birthday card to my home. I showed it to my family. It was like, holy crap, you work at a cool place. Didn't take much, just thought, priority, system, and a process. Look. On your table is this pad of paper. You know what this pad of paper is? This is the most powerful recognition tool for a leader that's ever been invented. And what I'm talking about is the power that's in this room for you guys to do handwritten notes to your employees, saying thanks, you're doing a hell of a job, and I appreciate everything that you do here. What?
Not email.
Not email. No, a handwritten note. Absolutely. Thanks for making that clear. The more people use this, the more powerful a handwritten note is. Want to increase your sales? Increase your contest. Salespeople love contest. So here's what I would tell you my mantra is: daily contest, weekly contest, monthly contest, quarterly contest, annual contest. The more contests you give, the more sales you get. And the number one book that I've listed there is Scaling Up by Vern Harnish. And in there, he tells us about the daily huddle. Every day, everybody gets together, what's hot, what's not, bop, 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 bop. 15 minutes or less, off we go. Every one of my clients that's doing daily huddle says it's one of the best things they've ever done. I have other clients that I say, guys, you got to do the daily huddle, and they say, there's no way that we can take time away from everybody for 15 minutes a day. You know what the difference between those two people is? The difference between those two people is one of the most important sentences I give you today. Here it is. People and companies tend to underperform to their capabilities because we rush to the urgent at the expense of the important. That's why. Urgent versus important. The four legs of a strong culture, there's not a single one of them that's urgent. Could you skip recognizing people? Yep. Could you quit communicating with them? Yep. And the next two you could stop doing too. You just don't underperform. I call on you. You're a prospect. I'm a sales guy. I get your business card. You take my business card. I meet you in this room. The furthest I'm going to go is the lobby. I use an app called Evernote. I take a picture of your business card. It populates it all into my database with one click of the finger. Boom. I sit down there in the lobby and I email you and thank you for meeting with me and reconfirm what we agreed on is to happen next and hit send. I followed up on your call before I ever left the building. That alone is differentiating me from everybody else out there. My sales team is in Southern California. I've had people come up to me on this tour and say, hey, I'd have an interest in talking to you about talking at our industry event as a speaker or as a keynoter. Great, you have a business card? Gives you a business card. I put GIG, gig, on the card. I take a picture of it. I send it to my sales team. I don't have to say a single thing after that. They already know. As soon as they got that, they contact that person by phone, by email, and text, because we don't know what is your preferred medium. And say, I understand that you just got with Jack and you have an interest in talking about a gig. I'm Jack's sales guy. What's your preferred methodology? And bang. That person's a 12-hour difference. They're right on it. I haven't even left the room. Immediacy is the key. I only want 2 actions from each person. It could have been being on time from now on, right? It could have been where we started and saying, if you're not passionate about what you do, quit and go find your passion. It could have been about stop doing PowerPoint presentations. It could have been ask more questions on calls. It could have been sales are made on emotion and not on logic, and so sell emotionally rather than logically and look for pain or pleasure. It could have been, hey, when you meet somebody, send them an email before you've left the building. It could have been that entrepreneurial insight, the vision is all important, and make sure that you paint a picture. It could have been the quit committing the 3 sins. It's damn time to hire a full-time sales manager and make a portion of their income dependent on the results of the team. And to get out of the mentality that says, I can't find salespeople, I can't afford them, they're too expensive. Well, maybe you consider doing 100% commission only, and you figure out how to sell it to them that way. And then you could have talked about the culture being important in the company. And the 4 legs of a strong culture. It could have been that you should read the E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. It could have been to go read about Southwest and nuts. It could have been Delivering Happiness by Tony Hsieh. It could have been Scaling Up for Vern Harnish. And it could have been the Daily Huddle. It could be Getting the Dreams of all of our employees. My God, there's so many freaking things you could have put on page 34. How could somebody have a blank page 34? If the change inside your company is slower than the change outside, your end is in sight. As the CEO of your company, if you're in the weeds, you're screwed. You got to be working on how are you going to take that I just talked about and turn it into an advantage as opposed to an extermination. I had 100 offices. I had a little more than 100 offices in the U.S. I had 2,600 salespeople. Every visit that I made to one of the offices, I had a similar speech, and it went something like this. There aren't 2,600 best ways to sell this stuff. What do you say we figure out the best way to sell it, build the systems and processes, teach the systems and processes, practice the systems and processes, and I bet you if we do that, we kick everybody's ass. Sports teams are run better than most businesses. I don't care what your sport is. It could be played on a field. It could be played on a court. It could be played on the ice. I don't care what level it is. It could be elementary school. It could be high school. It could be university. It could be pro. All I know is this. There isn't a coach in any sport at any level that would consider putting their players on the field without a playbook. Without the systems and processes that will enable that team to win more than they lose. Here's what else I can tell you. There isn't a coach in any sport at any level that would consider putting their players on the field without proper preparation, training, and practice. Can you imagine a sports coach in the morning on Monday before the game saying, all right, guys, just go out there and make shit up? Like, it sounds ridiculous, but that's what you're doing. That's what we're doing in our companies. If we don't have a playbook, we're telling our sales guys to make shit up. How can I generate more business with less work? That's very appealing to me. Yeah, under leverage. How can I generate more business with less work? Here's another way to write it down. How can I make more money with less work? Here's my first tip on leverage. If you don't have an assistant, you are one. When I'm speaking to a group of salespeople, that's what I tell them all. If you don't have an assistant, you are one. The universe is conspiring to get you to eat shit. Put it on page 34. Quit eating the shit. Here's what I'm telling you. You're putting salespeople in the field too soon. You're not getting them ready for playing the game. Sports teams are run much better than companies. No sports coach would ever take a guy that's on the team new and put him out in the field, but we're doing it all the time. And then we track the performance, and after 2 months say, wow, I expected the guy to be better. Shit, it's your fault, not his. You didn't train him up. Why didn't you train him up? Urgent versus important. Oh, the territory's been empty. We haven't had anybody in that territory for 3 months. We got to get somebody out there. Oh, the retail store, we got customers coming in. Somebody's got to call on them. Yeah, let that guy call on them. Shitty, but let him call on them. Urgent versus important. Non-performing salespeople need to be fired by next week. Non-performing salespeople need to be fired within the week. It would be even better if you could just call them up this weekend and not have them show up on Monday. Hire slowly, fire quickly. There you go. Hire slowly, fire quickly. What do I find in most businesses? Just the opposite. Hire quick, fire slow. And that's called recruiting the best guys out there. The first statement is big. Recruiting is a process and not an event. Recruiting is a process and not an event. It needs to be ongoing and continuous. You're always looking for good people. There are 4 component parts. A, you need a list of at least 10 people. I don't care if you have 1 salesperson in your company, you need at least 10 on the list. Look beyond your industry. I'm not telling you to skip your industry. I just want you to know this, that we have found that you have a higher probability of taking a top quartile guy from a different industry and teaching him your business than taking a bottom quartile guy who has industry experience and thinking you're going to raise him. But people stay and they just recruit inside your industry. Open it up. C, a courting process. courting. A courting process. Let me describe mine. A minimum of 2 touches every month on everybody on the list. Touches, breakfast, lunch, dinner, ball game, industry event, email, voicemail, snail mail, phone call. Twice a month, reaching out and staying in touch with them. Here's my experience. The very best people I have hired, very best people I have ever hired, happy where they were, not looking to make a change. Life happens. Let me show you what life happens is. I'll never leave this company. Oh my goodness, they got $100,000 on the budget every year to make people's dreams come true. Oh, they give cars away to their top producers. I love this company. And then Brian sells the company and the new buyer takes it and says, I ain't paying no dream program. Get the hell out of here with those cars. And all of a sudden, life happened. Yeah, then he's in play. I'll never leave this company. And then they tell you that you're going to report to the guy in the workstation next to you, and you think, if anything, that guy should report to you. That's life happens. I'll never leave this company. And then you like the old comp plan. They introduced a new one, and you don't like the new comp plan. We have no idea when life's going to happen to somebody. But if you're courting 10, you got a shot. Recruit people, don't absorb them. Item 3. What you need is a position profile. Not a job description. I hate job descriptions. HR crap. I'm a sales guy. What you need is something that looks like page 13. That's a position profile. The personal characteristics. I want someone that's got success patterns. I want somebody that's money hungry. I want somebody that's disciplined. I want somebody that's focused. I want somebody with selling. I want that dude. I say, listen, if you think that this makes sense, that you should hire good salespeople, then you should pay a bonus to every employee in the company to help you find them. I ask the EO audience, you know what? Less than 20% of the EO companies have a bonus program that they're helping find people. Less than 20%. Then I say, how much you paying? You know what I hear? $500 to $1,000. You know what I tell those people? Just stop. It's stupid. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Here's the formula. This is what I showed them. A good salesperson in that company would do 10 deals in a month. That was somebody we wanted. Now, he made $1,500 in profit on each deal. That means in 1 month, this guy would have brought $15,000 in profit to the company. In 1 year, he would have brought $180,000 in profit to the company. In 2 years, he would have brought $360,000 in profit to the company. So I'm saying to my direct reports, guys, I will gladly write any employee a check for $10,000 that could bring me someone that will add $180,000 to $360,000 in profit to my company. Here's the question. Show of hands, let me see them high. How many people would write a $10,000 check to get $180,000 to $360,000 back in the next year? Cool. All right. There are no such things as expenses in business. Only investments. And everything that we do should be measured on the return on investment. When I came up with all these wacky ideas about giving cars away on contest and cruises away, people were saying, too expensive, too expensive, too expensive. Every single contest I had paid for itself with the increased profit, and if we didn't see the increase, we didn't pay the prize. And everyone knew the prize was contingent on the results. And item number 5 says, recruit for skills but hire for attitude. 50% or more of success at selling has nothing to do with product, price, service, strategies, tactics, or playbooks. You want the company to be bulletproof from poor performers. Why would you ever compromise? Never compromise. Hire slowly, fire quickly. Price objections come primarily from one of two places. One, you haven't created enough trust. And 2, you haven't created enough perceived value. 4 or 5 times a month, I get, hey, I'd love to hire you to redesign my compensation plan for my sales guys. I could do that, but actually, if I were in your shoes, I know somebody that'll get it to you quicker, cheaper, and better than me. That's all they do is comp plan. So if I were in your shoes, I would go do them. Guys, he was ready to write me a check, and I was going to book a sale, and I sent him down the road. A year later, the same guy that wanted me to design comp plan, he hires me to do sales training. When he hired me to do sales training, how many other sales trainers did he talk to besides me? 0. Why? Trust. Trust. When you care more about them, you will outsell everybody else. You want the bonus? Here's the bonus. How many sales trainers besides me did he talk to? None. What did I not have to deal with? Price. Trust trumps price all day long. Now, when you say, how about July? We're going to check with Jennifer, and she might say, well, he's booked. And you say, well, it doesn't have to be July 18th. It could be 18th through the 21st. Well, he's booked all 3 days. He's booked, he's booked, he's booked, he's booked. These are clients, so they hear it all the time. He's booked, he's booked, he's booked, he's booked, he's booked, he's booked. And finally, he says, well, you're good enough that we'll wait until November. And she found a date. I'll take him. What did you not ask? Price. Price doesn't matter if you create enough perceived value. The first lesson that I learned was vision. Oh, by the way, you see this badass thing? This is an Ironman finisher medal, but it's more than that. This is the World Championship Ironman finisher medal from Hawaii, and there are hardly anybody on the world my age that's got one of these suckers. That was my vision. I'm going to run down Ollie Drive, and people all over the place are going to cheer me on saying, damn. I can tell you there were 2,000 athletes in this race. Not a single one of them got into this race without a playbook. I can't imagine having a business without a playbook. Gotta have a playbook. 2,000 athletes made it into this race that year. Not a single one of them made it into this race without training and practice. That's the third lesson that I learned. Practice and training, practice and training, practice and training, practice and training. If your salespeople are not practicing inside your company, tell me where they're practicing. Where are they practicing if they're not practicing inside your company? On the customer. Hey, 4 o'clock, shit, swing by and practice on another one? Is that the way it works? Sports teams are run better than most businesses. Hey, coach, when are we going to practice? Well, let me see. I got the schedule of the games. Oh, look, we got ABC team coming in tomorrow. We'll practice on them. Practice inside to get better outside. The fourth lesson that I learned was the importance of measure, 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 measure. Things that get measured get done. I really encourage you to go to my website and check out all the things I'm measuring. And then I want you to understand there's something. More than 50% of the athletes that showed up in Hawaii in 2013 thought my measurements were a joke. The amount of stuff they measured. The fifth lesson that I learned was how important it is to have a coach. And if you don't like the word of the coach, then you use a mentor. I have 5 of my personal goals. I told you about that when we started. I have 3 on my business. I have 6 on my triathlon sport. I have a swim coach, a run coach, a bike coach, an overall triathlon coach, a strength coach, and a nutrition coach. I'm 70 years old, guys. I have 14 people guiding me to the next level. Who's guiding you? Once you listed the 5 people that you spend the most time with that no one can be from family, then I want you to answer this question very seriously. Are those 5 people taking your game up or down? Because we are a reflection of the 5 people that we hang with. You never want to be in a room where you're the smartest guy. You don't want to be in the room where you're the smartest guy. Which leads me to the 6th lesson that I learned, and that is fitness. Every guy that competed in the Ironman in Hawaii was the model of fitness. The 7th lesson I learned might be more important than everything I'd already talked about, and that is attitude. Attitude. The 6 inches between our ears. That's where it's at. Grit. Attitude. I can't imagine getting up any morning and doing anything and not wanting to be the best and paying the price to be it. How do you get up in the morning and say, I'm going to give it 75% today? I am all in all the time. And as the leader of my company, it's my responsibility to lead them that way. And encourage them to not get up and say, I'm going to be 60% today. Unfair to your neighbors, unfair to your colleagues, unfair to your fellow employees. Let's all go all in all day. And if you can't, talk to me and we'll go find something else for you to do.